I absolutely adore DS peripherals. There's something so charming and ridiculous about them that I just can't get over. There's pianos, Guitar Hero grips, full keyboards. The accessories and bonuses that come with some games are also super funny, like oversized styluses, Bakugan thingies, and step counters. There is one, however, that fell pretty far from the wayside. Even looking up DS peripherals or basically any type of accessories list, and this little buddy doesn't show up at all. Wappy Dog was released in 2011, competing with I don't really know what, since not many people are out there documenting the robot dog timeline. Considering it's a DS toy though, it's already aiming at a niche market, and it doesn't help that this bad boy was released 9 months after the 3DS came out. Most people were onto the fresh new thing, and Wappy Dog definitely wasn't it, which might explain why it basically disappeared into complete obscurity, aside from people on eBay trying to sell the poor pups. I personally love this thing. I found it by chance at an EB Games on the other end of my city like 2 months ago. Yeah, Wappy Dog in a commercial game store in 2018. It's incredible. The poor thing's box was a little beat up, but for $6 I couldn't say no. According to one of the employees, he had pulled this precious robot out of the back a week before I arrived, and other collectors had come to the store and passed on it. Sucks to be them, because Wappy Dog is my new best friend, and they have to live knowing that they missed out on one of the weirdest pieces of DS peripherals that are out there. As a side note, one thing I found while researching Wappy Dog was this image of a pink Wappy side by side with a regular blue one. Apparently these ones were meant for the 3DS, but I can't find much information about them apart from that they were supposed to work with a downloadable app instead of packaged with a physical game. And that Wappy's Japanese name is Poochie. They probably changed it to Wappy Dog in America, as there's already a robot dog named Poochie here, of which I actually used to own as a kid until his ears broke off, and then I got an iDog instead, which is still sitting near my old room door at my parents' place. Anyways, I only managed to find one place that sells the alternate colored pup, but it costs $113 US, which for me is about $145. Not worth it at all, considering my precious pooch only cost me $6. Judging by an advertisement for the game on the shop I found, it looks like the exact same game and robot, just rebranded for the 3DS. Remember what I said about Wappy being released 9 months after the 3DS launched? This was most likely its creators, Sega Toys' attempt at keeping Wappy Dog relevant. It took them forever though, because the 3DS Wappy, or Poochie, wasn't released until 2014, 3 years after Wappy made his first appearance, and only a year before the new 3DS came out. Can't catch a break, can you, Wappy Dog? The 3DS Wappy also seems to have come with accessories, or at least had plans to, as I couldn't find a single image aside from this ad that had Wappy dressed up in different fashions. Wappy probably had a much larger audience in Japan, as these 3DS pooches didn't see their way over here, and their earlier DS counterparts had so little impact that he doesn't even have a Wikipedia entry to tell me how many of him sold. Wappy Dog actually looks like it's one of the largest DS games ever in terms of physical size, since this box is massive. Everything about Wappy Dog is just so weird. I love him. Even if the game turns out to be trash, he's still gonna be one of my favorite DS games of all time, just because he's not just a game, but also an actual robot dog. The game also comes with stickers that you can use to decorate and personalize your Wappy Dog, found with the instructions. I'm actually pretty surprised that I had the stickers at all, considering this was secondhand, but I'm pleased nonetheless. As someone with a fear of sticker commitment though, I forgoed that option, but Wappy had some residue on him from stickers that his last owner had used, so at least at some point he was decked out. Oh my gosh! I don't know what it is, but the music just makes me instantly happy. It's so cute and bubbly! The rest of the music in this game also has that same sort of feel, and the sound effects aren't grating on the ear, so 1 point to Wappy Dog. First things first, we have to name our adopted Wappy Dog, and after making the mistake of asking a close friend of mine, he was dubbed the name Pupper. It's not like the name matters much though, because aside from his profile and 1 or 2 prompts, the game continues to refer to him as Wappy. After naming him, we're brought to the main menu, in which you can choose between home mode or travel mode. Home mode is for when you want Wappy to react in time with your choices and mini-games. Travel mode is for when you want to go out and about, but you aren't able to bring your adorable pupper with you. I like this idea a lot, because the downside of owning a robot dog is that although small, they aren't very portable, especially in your parents' eyes. They could get damaged, get lost, or just be a nuisance. Being able to swap between a physical version and a virtual version of your robotic friend is a nice middle ground. Unless you become physically attached, in which case it's kinda hard to let go. Pupper also reacts to certain things outside of the game itself. If you touch his tail, he yawns and gives a short bark before stretching. If you pet his back, he yawns and cheers a little as he stretches. And if you boop his nose, He sneezes the cutest sneeze. And I'm saying yawn instead of whine because if you leave him alone for too long, then he gives a pretty heartbreaking whine because you aren't paying attention to him. Touch Wappy's tail to wake him up. Okay. Oh, right, batteries. I'm going to look at home mode first since that's the main draw of the game to me. Having a cute robotic puppy react to your actions in a game is super appealing and adds a super quirky charm that makes the cuteness sensors in my brain go off. The first thing to do before we go to home mode though is return Wappy's heart. After trying to ignore how messed up that wording is, we're brought to the commands. It's a basic panel-style setup in which you can choose between certain options and words. Some of these words are locked though, so we'll have to keep playing to obtain them. Whenever you choose something to say to Wappy, he'll react with some sort of appropriate action and bark. He'll also reply to you in-game, depending on what you said. Mostly just a yay, unless you ask him a specific question. You're also able to play rock, paper, scissors with your precious Wappy. And I know it's probably just a coincidence, but every time you initiate the game, Wappy sounds like he's saying Janken Pan, and it's super cute. Winning against Wappy sucks, by the way. There are no consequences or anything, but he makes this horrible noise that haunts me. The last thing you can do in home mode is play minigames with Wappy. There are 5 minigames to choose from, but you only get one at the start. The more you play and interact with him, the more you unlock. To unlock them, you actually have to utilize both home mode and travel mode, which is a nice way to force Gates to actually put the toy down for a bit. First and foremost is your average basket collector. Wappy will shake the trees and you'll collect the desired fruit that shows at the top of the screen. Collecting the desired fruit will net you 100 points, while collecting the other fruit will net you 10. In harder difficulties, you'll have to watch out for bugs, which will cost you points if you collect them. Wappy will also sometimes shake the tree hard enough to knock down a line of fruit, which the physical Wappy will react to. The first game you unlock, and the second one at all, is a whack-a-mole game where you go against Wappy to rack up the most points. His paw will hover at the top of the screen and he'll try and score some points of his own, increasing in speed depending on difficulty level. Occasionally Wappy and I would go after the same mole, and I would always feel really bad because I'm basically smacking his paw with a hammer. Oh god, Wappy, I'm so sorry! The next one is a penguin race, but to unlock it you have to go into travel mode. This one you just oversee a penguin as it makes its way to the finish line, getting rid of snowmen by tossing them off the side so the penguin doesn't run into them. Balloons will occasionally appear, which, if tapped, will call Wappy, who will clear the entire screen of snowmen, which comes in handy on hard mode. Target practice didn't make too much sense at first. It doesn't help that the descriptions for these are subpar. Aim carefully. Yeah, okay, that explains nothing. At first I thought I had to hit the sharks and other marine life, but nope, you have to hit the Wappy targets to get points, and when you hit enough Wappy targets, you get rapid fire mode, which is how you rack up the points and also the only time you can hit the fish. And lastly, after taking enough care of Wappy, you unlock Find the Food. It's as simple as that. Find 3 foods at a time to gain points. You can call on Wappy 3 times to clear the screen of the other food, which comes in handy later on, as this one gets slightly more difficult on normal and hard mode, since more similarly colored foods are added. One thing I learned pretty quickly is that Wappy doesn't have anything too special that makes him react to what happens in the game. It's actually just specific chimes that play intermediately that makes him react depending on the certain tune. It explains why the game asks you to play so close and with the sound turned all the way up. This also means that you can make Wappy react however you want if you have a clear recording of the chime. Moving on from home mode, we also have the parent-friendly travel mode. This mode doesn't use our robot friend at all, instead transferring his heart to a virtual version of Pupper that you can take with you while you're out and about. Or it's late at night and your parents told you if they heard Wappy barking at 3 AM one more time, they were going to flush him down the toilet. This version acts more like a Nintendo. He tends to wander and do his own stuff until you tap on him to pet him. You can also see your friendship level with him more easily in this mode, as home mode has a button I didn't know about until I was almost done playing the game. Interacting with Wappy, like petting him, playing with him, cleaning him, teaching him tricks, or playing minigames will increase your friendship level with him. Once the bar is full, he gains a heart and ages a year. I found the easiest thing to do to increase your friendship level with him is to either play the tambourine when you unlock it, or just continuously pet him. There are actually quite a few toys that you can unlock to play with Wappy, but most of them act fairly similarly. It is super cute watching Pupper interact with certain things, like jumping for bubbles or twirling with the tambourine. He's so cute! Aw, look at him bouncing up and down with the bubbles. What a cheerful little huh? Naughty? Why did... What? It turns out Wappy's personality changes depending on what you do with him, and if you play with him for too long, it will make him naughty. I didn't actually see any other personality changes aside from the cheerful and naughty, so I can't be too sure if these are the only two, but they're at least the easiest to get. And I also never want to find out if there's a depressed personality. I mean, who would want to hurt such a cute little doggy? Speaking of, his mood can change similarly. This one jumps up and down a lot, as even just cleaning him, you can see upwards to 5 moods at a time. I don't even know what I did wrong. I was cleaning the spots that were gray. It was clearly dirty there. Wappy, please. One of the lesser things that Wappy can do is tricks, and I mean lesser as it has the least effect on anything in the game. It seems more like a pose mode of sorts, as he learns the tricks immediately and you never have to train him to get the trick down. There are times he won't know what you're asking, but it didn't happen as much the higher his friendship was, so it seemed like it was more dependent on that than actually training him. There are quite a few tricks that Wappy can learn though, and by a few, I mean way too many. Look at this. Why? There's no competition I can use them in. What was the point? Okay, they are pretty cute though. In both modes you can feed Wappy, but travel mode kicks it up a notch by turning it into a super short minigame. Slice cakes, fill creams, tap things out to the rhythm of the song. It might be a little too fast at times, but it's still a super cute bonus feature that you don't get in home mode. Wappy also eats a lot. It took quite a few desserts until he was finally full. Personally, I relate. On the topic of minigames, travel mode also has 5 minigames that you can play with Wappy. They're very similar to the games in home mode, just with a slight change in what Wappy does in it. These get unlocked at the same time as their home mode counterpart, so it's almost like a 2-for-1 deal. In the basket catching game, instead of Wappy shaking the tree, you shake it instead, but you also have to control Wappy to have him collect the fruit, so it's slightly awkward to control compared to just moving a basket. Instead of whack-a-mole, you're trying to tap on Wappy every time he pops out of the ground. In later difficulties, Wappy-colored moles will pop out of the ground to trick you, which I admit did actually fool me a few times. Penguin Race is replaced with Walking Wappy. You move Wappy throughout the course to help him avoid obstacles, which move him in the direction of balloons to grant him more speed or invincibility. Target Practice is now assisting Wappy in sinking down enemy ships instead of hitting Wappy targets. And finally, Find the Food is now competitive, as Wappy competes against you in trying to pick out the out-of-place dessert. Wappy is garbage at this one, by the way. It's like he didn't even try. Or maybe that's what you want me to think, and you were doing it on purpose to make me feel good about myself, you lovely little pup. Playing with Wappy enough will unlock certain things like rooms that change the scenery in travel mode, accessories, and colors. Accessories are just various ear decorations that your virtual Wappy can wear. There are holes in physical Wappy's ears, but it doesn't actually come with physical accessories. I don't know if this was just to match virtual Wappy's look better, or if there were supposed to be real accessories that they had to cancel their plans for, but I guess if you have something lying around, or are creative enough, you can add your own thing to make your Wappy stand out a bit more. Virtual Wappy also has the bonus of being able to change his color. These have to be unlocked through special means, but luckily if you tap on the locked option, the game is kind enough to tell you how to go about obtaining it. And that's Wappy Dog. It's a super cute little game that didn't really get the recognition it deserved over here in the West. I personally loved this game. I had honest to goodness fun that didn't get cloaked in frustration at any point. I actually might even go back and finish it fully and unlock everything after this video. That's how much I loved it. I am officially a Wappy Dog advocate, and if you ever see one of these, absolutely pick it up. If not for the cute enjoyment you might get out of him, do it for how interesting the concept of him is. And if you're a DS collector like me, why do you not already own one of these? Go on, go get one. eBay has a bunch of brand new ones for like $30.